ESPN Northwest Florida is an active member of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We want to introduce the newest members to the Beach Chamber: MWR Naval Support Activity, Panama City; Authentica Mexican Grill; Photo Booth 30A; Sage Spa; Pirates Voyage Dinner and Show; and Easy Accounting. Congratulations from the only local sports talk station, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254. Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Unhealed trauma can lead to suicide. On December 24th, 2019, my daughter Shelby took her life after the unhealed trauma of being raped at age 11. Shelby's Walk Foundation is named in her honor, and the mission is to change the ending by creating opportunities for new beginnings by funding holistic trauma healing for trauma survivors. Please donate at shelbyswalk.org or to find out more information and help us change the ending for trauma survivors. Thank you.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You guys are now in the doghouse riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Caveman Rick. Man, it is another beautiful day out there. Looks like we might have a little bit of sprinkles coming on in, but as of right now, no rain is falling. I had a couple of drops fall on me, but
I got a few sprinkles on the way in.
Yeah, a little bit there. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we will keep you updated on the weather. Maybe not live here, but man, I feel bad for not knowing who our weather lady is. What's her name?
Joanna.
I was gonna say Julie.
Girl,
I know that's why I say I feel bad for not knowing, because I'm like, man, how do I not know one of my best friend's girlfriend's name? But Joanna will keep you guys updated. And again, you can listen to Jay Henley and Ryan Mulvey on the Inside Drive from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Coach James Hale Show from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is Monday through Friday for both of those shows. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. We are on from 4 to 6 p.m. And we've got a wide array or a variety cast. That is not the right way to term that there, but our cast is made up of a variety of sports fans. Cast of characters. That's a great way to put it, Caveman Rick. You guys can call or text us today at 850-215-6290. We did have a poll on the Inside Drive today when it comes down to shaving, which, Caveman Rick, I don't know if you get around to shaving very often, but when you do, is it before or after the shower?
Mine's after. I actually did the poll and actually voted on it, and when it popped up, and that's what I voted for. But yeah, like the very little I do around the edges, afterwards.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that out next time. I guess I'll cut my hair, take a shower, and then come out and shave. To me, it's just, I guess, that, the more that I thought about it today, the more it is just kind of like a time thing. So, and I don't got a whole lot to shave anyways. So, what do you guys, what is it for you? You can text in your answer to 850-215-6290. I don't think that we're going to take the time to put a poll up for that today since we had that on the Inside Drive. But if you do leave an answer on the Facebook feed or via texting, we will read that out for you guys and add it to the numbers. Make sure that you are tuned in to the Inside Drive tomorrow. We're going to keep it rolling with a poll every day. I think that it's going to be a non-sports related poll as well. It's a great show to listen to, the Inside Drive. They do got a TikTok too, so you can go check out their TikTok. Go to TikTok, type in inside.drive. Lots of stuff going on locally. We'll dive into that big win for the old Arnold Marlins last night. 420 Old School is going to join us again, so that looks like it's going to be a constant on Wednesdays at 420 moving forward. 520 for Old School as he is over there near Atlanta. So Old School joins us in the next segment. Then we'll have trivia on this day and headlines at 440. Chandler Permenter with College Baseball Central will join us at 5 o'clock. We're only going to have 2 segments in the second hour today. AG, who's normally with us on Wednesdays, he is down there in Tampa checking out some spring training baseball. I don't remember what game
Rays
it was.
And Jays today, and it was Pirates and somebody tomorrow.
Oh, Pirates took care of the Braves yesterday. I know the Atlanta Braves were playing the Philadelphia Phillies today in spring training. Do you know what the final of that one was?
I do not.
It ended in a tie, a 7-7 tie. So there we go, getting amped up for the Braves-Phillies rivalry going into this year. And we're starting it off with a tie in spring training. Nick Nelson got on the mound today.
Right on, local kid.
Yeah, from Rutherford. He had 1 inning pitched, gave up a walk and a home run to go along with that. But only 1 earned run. Hey, it's spring training, though. It's all about getting those juices flowing. Let's see what else we got. 520, the NFL and their team report cards. They dropped those today. So that's what we're going to end our segment or end our show with this afternoon. And then we'll send you over to Auburn. Auburn's got a big date tonight with Tennessee. So instead of just getting you to the tip at 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to take you to the pregame coverage starting at 5:30, and they will tip off at 6 o'clock. And then we'll have some NBA for you tomorrow night as the Jazz are going to be traveling to the Orlando Magic, and then a triple header of college basketball on Saturday. Illinois at Wisconsin, Mississippi State at Auburn, and then we'll wrap the night up on Saturday with Tennessee and Alabama. That tip is at 7 p.m. And then Yamamoto in spring training today in his debut. I don't know exactly what it was that he went to this point. Through 16 and 19 pitches for strikes there. So, hey, that $1 billion that the Dodgers spent in the offseason is looking good in spring training so far.
So far in games that don't count, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We'll see how it goes when it's time to put your money where your mouth is.
It's funny. They only count when your guys get hurt and they go down.
Yeah,
that's
right.
when they really count, And I looked it up. Adam's going to see the O's. He's going to see Pirates and Orioles.
Okay, that'll be a good one, man.
That'll be good.
And they're having those
on both teams.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the cool things about spring training is you'll see guys that you've never even seen before, or that you'll never get, actually not that you've never seen before, that you'll never get to see again.
Maybe, yeah.
Depending on how their career plays out. But great chance for autographs if you have young kids.
About the youth, I was like, he's a card guy. Bring some cards down there. You never know who you're going to run into, and maybe you get some signed ones. And then we talked about one of the sponsors on the Inside Drive over at Instant Replay when they do the JSA showing up over there. You can go over there and get them certified, and cha-ching.
There you go, man. And like a life hack for getting autographs is to bring a kid with you.
Yeah, no doubt. Or like have, I hate to say this, man, like doctor yourself up, go maybe with some crutches or something.
Oh,
like
man.
You're like injured or something like that, where they might feel a little sorry for you. Or here's the thing too, though, it makes you stand out. Like I was watching something this past weekend for a little bit. I can't remember which channel, like Discovery or something. It was about a guy that been on like every game show. And he said one of the things when you audition for these game shows is to stand out, make yourself stand out from the crowd. That way you get noticed. Well, I think the same kind of thing. Stand yourself out.
There we go. We got a Browns fan who says he's Team Electric Shaver. Got to shave before the shower because the steam affects the cut. There you go. There you go. So I'm team before the shower, team during the shower, and then if I missed anything, team after the shower as well. I want to get I've seen those little kind of handheld shavers that are for bald people.
A massager or something like that you're putting on your head.
I have a feeling that would not work out so well. I just use it depends on how low I want to go. I'll tell you one thing. It's interesting that when I do bick it, when I shave it all the way down, my hats fit a lot better. Some of the hats actually that are a little tight already, it ends up making them too small at that point.
Yeah, but the stubble, man, like when it's windy out, give it a little friction to stay on your head so the wind don't blow it off.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it gives you a little bit of better grip for your hats.
The poll, I think something would have been interesting too. I mean, along the lines before or after, something might have been better. Might have been like, dry shave or, wet shave, because some people do dry shave. And that can, some people are like, vehemently against it, and some people swear by it. So
there you go.
Whatever.
All right, well, last night, man, it was a party over there at Dave and Buster's. And why? Because the Arnold Marlins got the W. They went all the way to penalty kicks with a 0-0 score going into extra time. Go to penalty kicks, and Josh Chandler has a great night as the hero, stopping 2 of those shots. And the top-ranked Arnold Marlins, man, advancing to the Class 5A state championship. They beat Pembroke Pines at 4-2 on those penalty kicks. 80 minutes of scoreless soccer in regulation, then 2 scoreless 10-minute overtimes. And Josh Chandler, again, the senior goalkeeper, playing hero last night. You had seniors Cricket Lebdui, Stone Hatton, and Sander Richard all making their penalty kicks before Chandler's first save, and then senior Felix Reimer made the 4th PK before Chandler made the game-winning stop. Now Arnold on the year 21-1-1, advancing to their 3rd state championship game in 4 years. They're going to be taking on the number 2 seed Jesuit from Tampa in the Class 5A state final. And that'll be this Friday.
You're naming some names. Cricket, the last name Labdowie, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Labdowie.
And I know his dad, and I've met him before. I've met Cricket. Great family, great guys, and that's cool that he's on that team, because I didn't know that. And big ups to our boy Danny Griffith. His son was in that game last night too, and he almost had the game winner, I think, before time expired, if his dad said that right in our chat.
Yeah, I think he said there was like 17 minutes left or so, and Hunter got an opportunity there but wasn't able to bury it. But regardless, the Arnold Marlins on their way to their 3rd state championship game in 4 years. That is very impressive stuff. Now, when they won in 2021, they were a 4A school, now moving up to the 5A level. That will be very interesting to see how it all plays out for the Arnold Marlins, and I believe they're going to be having another watch party out there at Dave & Buster's, so y'all get out there and check them out. I believe it'll be a 6 p.m. start Friday, which will not be February 30th. It will be March 1st. Do you know what date it would be if we didn't have a leap day?
March 2nd?
No. If the leap year was never invented, do you know what day it would be?
I don't know, because you have to figure out when the calendar started, so I really don't know. It'd probably be like sometime in like December.
January 30th of 2026.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 2 full years at that point in time. And I'm sure Ryan will bring you some more information tomorrow in the Afternoon Delight Debrief. Very fun segment that the Inside Drive has at 12 o'clock. Gulf Coast, the men and the women on their way to Tally, as well as the Commodore Club. They're on their way to Tallahassee today for the women and men's basketball game. The women tip at 4:30, and then the men at 6:30. That would be 5:30, 7:30 there in the Eastern time zone. And that top-ranked Gulf Coast baseball team, they were in a little bit of a struggle against Wallace yesterday. They were at the house. No one ended up bringing me a hat, but Caveman Rick, I thought about this as soon as I left the station yesterday. What if like 3 or 4 people would have gotten the hat, and then I would bid out like how many dollars?
You made a deal on the radio. You probably have to honor it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad no one ended up going and getting that hat.
And what if they were all the same hat?
Oh, well, then at that point, then I'm donating the other ones to people who want to become Gulf Coast fans however, it would just be the gift that keeps on giving, except for I guess I would have to have paid for for my hat, depending on how it all worked out. But I still am looking for a Gulf Coast hat, and the next opportunity that I get to attend a home game, the next time that I'm on the show, I'll be donning a Gulf Coast Commodores baseball hat. The Commodores, though, they did end up getting the win against Wallace. 11-4, now 5-0 over there at Frazier Field this season. They have a record of 18-1 now, and they're going to be hosting Coastal Alabama South this Saturday, March 2nd, and of course, I'm going to be in Middleburg, Florida, visiting my mom and grandparents. Now, Caveman Rick, I'm about to bring up, I'm going to go over the rest of the local scores in high school baseball and high school softball. So I want you to be thinking of this, and for all of our listeners out there as well, would love to hear what you guys think, just because I've been drinking a lot of coffee lately, and I saw a Twitter post today by Dylan Powell. He says, just curious how others do it. What does your daily coffee routine look like? Now, mine has changed a little bit, but be thinking about what it is. Like, what do you have a routine with your coffee? But first, we'll go dive into the high school baseball scores. Pensacola Christian Academy took down Rocky Bayou Christian by a count of 1-0. Walton beat Destin yesterday 2-0. Bozeman over Contandale. That's 11-1. Cottondale takes the loss. Bozeman keeps on rolling 4-0 to this point on the season. Laurel Hill beat Vernon yesterday in a football type score, 14-12. Alpha beat Ponce de Leon 3-2. Chipley shut out Sneeds last night 8-0. Arnold over Holmes County 2-1. Mariana beat North Bay Haven Academy 3-1. Freeport shut out LEAD Academy 16-0. Pensacola Catholic beat Paxton 11-1. Port St. Joe over Cairo 8-7. And Gulf beat Breeze, shuts out Niceville 14-0. I think we have a few games this evening as well. Bluntstown is hosting Seminole County right now. Vernon is hosting Graceville at 6 p.m. And then Chipley, who's 3-0, hosting Holmes County, who is 2-2. That game starts tonight at 7 p.m. And in the world of softball, there are no games tonight, but Bay gets the win over Gadsden. I believe that was via the forfeit, because the score on Max Preps is Bay 1, Gadsden County F. So forfeit there. Bluntstown over FAMU DRS 15-0. Arnold having a great season at this point as well. They beat Mosley, who's now 0-3, 5-2. Vernon 16, Destin 2 is the final. Franklin County shuts out Weewall last night 5-0. Malone all over Houston County. The score there 27-6. North Bay Haven Academy having a great year in softball. Score 8-0 over Bozeman, and they were on the road. Freeport beats Holmes County 3-2. Cottondale over Chipley 14-2. Sneeds and Childs play a fun one there, but Sneeds gets the W 16-14. And then it was Liberty County taking down Lincoln by 10. The score there 12-2. Circling back to North Bay Haven softball, this was a text to the Coach James Hale show this morning, but in North Bay Haven softball has won 3 games this season. The total of those scores 25-1. That is good for +4 as a run differential. And their 2 preseason games that they had, the total for those games 51-2. So be on the lookout this year for North Bay Haven. But when it comes to your coffee routine, Caveman Rick, what's yours?
I don't think I have technically a really routine. I mean, usually in the morning I'll have a cup of coffee before I start my day and kind of get out the house. And then after that, if I need a little pick-me-up later on in the day, I might have a cup, but outside of that, that's about it for me.
All right. Right State Chris says black coffee at 4:15, coffee again at work at 8:20, and probably another black coffee at 1 p.m. So there you have it. Right State Chris, man, right on time too. That's a very impressive routine.
Some people are like that. Like my mom's one that's addicted to coffee, like caffeine, or if you don't have it, headache time.
Yeah, I'm not at the headache level by any means. In fact, there's been a couple of days went without it. But so basically, I'll wake up, have a cup, normally black, and then I will take a shower or whatever it is that I got to do that morning, and then I just make 2 cups and pour them into the old Bogey King tumbler that Alan Watson gifted me with, and throw a little bit of French vanilla in there. Not too much because I actually prefer black coffee, but if I've got a little bit of creamer, I'll sweeten it up. And honestly, the reason why I like to put creamer when I'm putting coffee in a tumbler is because I don't know when I'm going to be able to take that first sip if I don't, because it just stays so hot for so daggum long, and then I end up doing what I always do when I'm drinking hot black coffee, and that's burning my tongue. And then for the rest of the day, maybe 2 days, I am taste budless at that point. And that happened last night. I was over at my brother's. He made a pot of coffee, and so I'm sitting there drinking, I'm waiting, and I'm trying to, cool it down a little bit. That doesn't work, and I'm like, well, whatever. It's been 10 minutes. It should be cooled down. And I take too big of a sip, and my taste buds are still like, I just haven't been able to really taste anything today. So, hey, it is what it is. Tomorrow is a brand new day. But if you've got a coffee routine and it stands out, why don't you send it over to 850-215-6290. Kansas City Royals. We've been talking a lot about these Major League Baseball uniforms. The Kansas City Royals actually worked with the MLB and Nike in having their lettering on their jerseys to the same size that it was last year, because they lobbied hard for that. And one of the reasons that the jerseys look so bad, so designed by Nike, manufactured by Fanatics, but one of the issues is with the new fabric that they're using, apparently it's too difficult to have the regular size lettering and the regular size numbering. Okay, get rid of the fabric then, because none of us are sitting here like, man, that fabric is so good, I don't care what the jerseys look like. No, we don't care. We actually do care what the jerseys look like, at least in my opinion, and I think a large following of Major League Baseball's opinion is we care what these things look like. I want to be able to see without having to strain what the name on the back of the jersey is and what his number is. And it just looked a whole lot cleaner the way that it used to be.
Plus, in this day and age, you're telling me you can't find something that's going to, benefit the players as far as like the flexibility, the wickingness of the sweat and all that, along with the ability to make it eye appealing for the fans and for people who want to buy it and whatnot and to watch the game. They follow the money. I mean, obviously, there's people making money off the deal.
Well, I think not just that, but possibly saving a little bit of money as well, right? Because, for the fact that they're designed by Nike but manufactured by Fanatics, that's got to be Nike trying to find a way to save a couple of bucks,
right?
That's
a contradiction. Why would you do that being Nike and being the company that you are? It makes no sense at all.
And if you were Nike, and I think I've said this before, if you're Nike and you've heard about some of the things that go on with the Fanatics, not just manufacturing, but the reviews that they get from people on Twitter and the website.
It's Porsche letting Ford make their cars.
Exactly. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You go ahead and handle the phone call, and I'll wait till you get done with the phone call. But yeah, so according to Paul Lucas of UniWatch, Nike created the new jerseys with a lighter fabric, which has made larger numbering and lettering more difficult, leading some players to call the small numbers and letters amateurish. Also, we'll talk about this later on at 5 o'clock. Drew Burris, Georgia Tech outfielder, left the yard 4 times yesterday, and BYU giving the Kansas Jayhawks their first home loss of the season. The score there was 76-68, and they were down by 12 points, BYU was, but then they stormed back. That is only the second conference loss on a weekday in the 21-year career of the Bill Self era with Kansas. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going old school with Old School next.
Set your alarm clock to wake up with the Coach Hales Show on ESPN Northwest Florida. In-depth local and college sports from expert insiders and a dash of controversy.
Can be deadly.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9.
Nothing says good morning like a drunken human alarm clock.
We're live from the J. Michaels studio.
We all know he loves the Florida Gators, but that's okay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I can control the world.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The rest of the day, mostly clouds and 72 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southwest at 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 53. Tomorrow, a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour, mostly cloudy and a high around 66. For Friday, clouds in the early morning and then moderate rain and a high of 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
They're number one. In the men's room.
I hope this place comes with toilet paper.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Oh, geez, this is going to be a photo finish.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
There we go, Caveman Rick. I don't think it gets no better than that. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is the Vagabonds, and the name of the song is The Hammer. And who brought that to our attention? Old School. And who's on the line with us? Old School. My man, how is it going on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon?
Oh, man, I loved hearing that music. That brought back the old feelings, man. For Old School, I like it.
Good to hear it,
everything's going well today. I love hearing the Hammer.
Oh man, me too. I try to play that as often as I can when I'm on the board there on the inside drive, and it doesn't hit the same when you didn't get to spend some time with Old School. But Jake Knapp got it done at the Mexico Open with that final round score, even par 71 to win the Mexico Open, and also earning a trip to the Masters. What'd you take away from that, Old School?
I thought it was so impressive because, one of his strengths, one of the things he's known for, one of the things that's gotten him to the PGA Tour is he hits the ball a ton. I mean, he hits it extremely long. He's got a huge arc to his swing, hits the ball extraordinarily far, and usually very, very straight with the driver. But on Sunday, he struggled. He didn't hit a fairway for the first 8 holes. He only hit 2 fairways the entire day. But yet he scrambled, he kept his composure, he made the big putts when he needed to, and the short game brought him through to the victory. It's a fantastic win for him. He's one of the best stories in the PGA Tour right now. I don't know how many people know, but he played at UCLA in college. He's a really talented young man. Tried to make it on tour, and then he washed out. Couldn't get there. So he became a bouncer. So he worked as a bouncer for 2 years and realized, man, this is not how I want to make a living. So he rededicated himself, went back to work. His grandfather's dream was for him to make it on the PGA Tour. He wears a tattoo of his grandfather's name on his forearm. And even today, even though his grandfather passed away just a few months ago, he still every day texts his grandfather what he did to improve his game and what his day was like. So, I just think it's a really cool story, and I'm sure that text that he got to send his granddad on Sunday was pretty special.
I'm sure there was a lot of smiles and tears involved with that one as well. And I was reading the AP article after his win, and that stood out to me. I'm going down there to Jacksonville, or over there to Jacksonville, to see my grandpa this weekend, and it's just like, man, like I can only imagine, we did it. The accomplishing feeling of like, this ain't just for me. This ain't just for Jake Knapp. This is for me and my grandpa. And the fact that he still is sending those texts it's a beautiful thing.
One of the things that's really neat is sometimes, especially golf being an individual sport, is you think they're playing for themselves, and yes, they are. I mean, they're playing for themselves. They're trying to win on their own. They're not, unless you're in live golf, there's not a team aspect at the professional level. But one of the things that it teaches you, or what you realize, is that every one of those guys, every player out there on tour, is playing for something bigger than just himself. Maybe it's his family, maybe it's his wife, his children. There's usually some other motivator that keeps their motor running, keeps them out there grinding away, trying to improve their short game, or trying to improve their putting, and trying to make it up to that point where they put it all together for a magic moment and they win. And I just think it's really cool how all of us in life, and this is not just for golf, but in whatever aspect of life that we're involved in, is if we're putting it into something other than just ourselves, if we're doing it for something other than just for the betterment of ourselves, we're going to be better at it in the long run.
Ooh, preach. Can I give you an amen and a hallelujah, old school? Man, I miss you. I was reading, or I saw a post on Twitter today, just kind of a myriad, a variety of old golf balls. And I wanted to get that take from you. Like, what was your favorite golf ball outside of the Pro V1 that's kind of been the status quo on the tour, and just for recreational golfers as well? What's been some of your favorite golf balls of all time?
Well, when I was a kid growing up, I used to I only played balls that I could find.
Amen.
Because I didn't have the money to buy them. But in Top Flight was they were very prevalent out on the golf courses. Top Flights were, because they were durable, they went a long way, and so you just kind of learned to play those balls all the time. And then kind of as I started to improve, I started playing a ball called a Club Special. And it was made by a Cushionit, but it was a decent ball. It still had the durability of a Top Flight, but it had the go, but yet it had some spin. And as you develop as a player, you start realizing how important it is to be able to put spin on the ball, especially when you're chipping, short game and stuff like that. So I kind of moved to playing the Club Special ball. And then when I finally got to the point where I went off to college to play golf in college, my school had a deal with McGregor. So we played McGregor balls, and they were Bellatas. And I had never played a Bellata ball before. I'd always played a different kind of ball. So all of a sudden the ball was spinning like crazy. And the ball was just turning left and right. I was a kid that grew up hitting a fade a lot. And so all of a sudden the ball it wasn't a fade, it was slicing, because the Bellata ball was so much softer. So it stayed on the face longer, and it accentuated whatever curves that you had. So you really had to learn how to maneuver the ball. You had to learn how to make it go right to left, or make it go left to right, so that you could control it. Today's golf ball is now, as I've progressed and we've gotten all the way into today's technology, the golf ball is not as soft, and so therefore it flies a lot straighter. And so the players, they can develop a one-way, what they call a one-way miss, which is where their ball is either going to fade the vast majority of the time, or it's going to draw the vast majority of the time. And so I kind of miss that. Now, the ball goes a lot further. It is fun to hit it far, as we all know. And because chicks dig the long ball.
There we go.
But at the same time, it was a lot of fun. You take a guy like Corey Pavin, who really grew up with that era, and you learn how to, if he had a pin on the right-hand side of the green, he would work the ball left to right into that pin. If the ball was over on the left side, he would start it at the center of the green and draw it back to the ball, or draw it back to the pin. So it really became it's a skill. It's a skill shot, not just a power. Today's ball, the Pro V1s, the Pro V1Xs, the new Chrome Tour, all these type of balls are they're hard and they're firm and they spin and they can control spin, but yet the ball will primarily go straight unless you're just really having, a bad angle on your ball or swiping across it. But so my favorite is kind of that original Bellata ball. Didn't go as far, but it sure spun like crazy.
I'm sure if Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley are listening to you, they're absolutely ecstatic with that answer, because I know they had a segment about a month and a half ago or so where they were talking about that, and that is where I learned what a Bellata ball was. So great stuff. Again, you're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with Old School. Old School, what is your position on court storming? We've had the situation with Caitlin Clark about a month and a half ago, the situation with Kyle Filipowski and Duke and Wake Forest this last weekend. What is your position on court storming?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It has changed. I used to not have a problem with it. Sports is such an exciting thing. The fans are engaged in it. We want the fans to be engaged. But the court storming has become almost too often. It happens too often. It used to be only happened in the specialist of moments. It was only when a guy heaves it from, 60, 80 feet and it goes in and they win and people would storm the court. Now it's just happening too often, in my opinion. And I don't know how to stop it. I mean, this is a problem because unless you just have enough security to keep people off the court, I don't know how to stop it. But yet, my concern is somebody's going to get hurt even worse than what is already happening, because people are not just coming out onto the court; they're coming out onto the court with intentions. They're going over they're trying to get to an opponent to either talk smack at them or to give them a hard time, and I just think that it's going to lead to a situation of, it's going to create a problem. And again, I go back to act like you've been there before. So, if you're a team that wins and you have a affinity for winning, there's no need to storm the court just because you beat your particular rival. Just act like you've been there before and enjoy the moment, but enjoy the moment in the stands. I just think we're opening ourselves up for some real problems.
Yeah, I mean, Wake Forest isn't a team that's normally been there too many times anyways. They might have been there before, but they were favored in this game. Duke is not the same Duke of old that we're used
That's
to.
Correct.
And you were favored in the game. You should never, at least the fans should know that, right? Like, if you're even, you got to be a huge underdog. You shouldn't even want, if you've got more than 5 conference wins and the team that you're playing is not number 1 or 2, then you should not rush the court or storm the court. In the same way in football. But one of my issues here is you've got all the Duke people coming out and saying things, and it's don't forget what you guys did when y'all beat Clemson. There's that situation where it's don't be holier than thou in this situation. Obviously, we don't want to see players get hurt. In this situation with Caitlin Clark, which she didn't survive, or she didn't sustain a serious injury. Filipowski looks like he'll be able to play this weekend. They're not really going to need him against Louisville anyways. I mean, who knows what, or I think that's who they play this evening. But yeah, I don't know how you end up policing this, and I wouldn't like to see it be totally abolished, but I don't like to see it all the time for, like Tennessee, Alabama. All right, I'm cool with that one. I honestly am. It's been a long time since Tennessee beat Alabama. Yeah. It made sense.
The goalpost was a little much, though.
You know what? But it was a little bit much of, it was a long time waiting, a long time coming.
But when people get hurt and stuff like that, it's always, looked up, frowned upon and stuff. I think with these kids, though, part of the reason why I storm the court is because they want to do it. They go into the school. They want to say, hey, I stormed the court when I was in college.
Yeah, I was there.
They want the video of me, blah, blah, blah. Well, then you know what? If they have to do it and, something happens and you get banned or whatever, hey, they got video. There's going to be all kinds of kids posts and stuff. So all you're going to do is incriminate yourself. People can't help themselves.
The part that it reminds me of, David, is when I was a kid and streaking became popular, right? So all of a sudden, streakers started appearing at NFL football games. All of a sudden, there would be a person streaking down the field with no clothes on or whatever, or somebody would run out onto the field with a sign or something. And for a while, the television networks would broadcast and show the person doing.
They even had that Morgana chick that, that was really endowed that would go out on the field, and they would, put the camera on her, and, everybody's like, there she is,
Yeah. But what they finally realized was, don't show them. Mm-hmm. Don't give them that moment of glory. Just don't show it. Let the cops come and handle it. Let the security people handle it, but don't give them that moment where they can go home and watch it on their whatever. So, and to a certain extent, I think that's kind of what's going to happen with the storming the court, because what they want to see is that moment where on ESPN where they show them storming the court, and they're running over there and they're mouthing stuff to the other teams. And maybe we just need to just say, hey, you know what, if that's going to happen, we're just going to go to a off-camera shot, to an off the court type shot to cover it.
Yeah, because, you don't see it happening in professional games, the NBA, NHL. Often, or not very often, but every now and again, people are climbing the net there in the NHL and climbing the No,
you get
that
arrested,
would be the wild.
You'll get banned and stuff. They're not doing it to these college kids.
Yeah.
And that's why they're, not fearful.
You even had the situation last night in the Texas Tech game where Texas...
I was going to bring that up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. One of the things this was a big rivalry game. But Texas was supposed to win, but Texas Tech it's been a rivalry that has been budding, particularly since Texas Tech started being good in the conference. And so last night, Texas was not supposed to win. Texas Tech is at home. It's a very important conference game, and Texas somehow manages to pull it out at the end. And then all of a sudden, man, the bottles are flying out of the stands. And it was not just plastic water bottles. There was a lot of liquor bottles coming out of the stands. And it's quite dangerous. It can get, it's the same thing that happened at the Waste Management Classic.
Oh, yeah.
In golf. It got out of hand. It's a cool environment. And all the players enjoyed it, but it's getting too much. And at some point, you have to say, "Hey, enough is enough." And they finally had to do that in Phoenix this year. And at some point, the NCAA is going to have to levy some kind of fine. And by fine, I mean maybe take away a victory or somehow have an impact on the outcome of the season if the kids begin to do that on a regular basis.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I've heard forfeitures being thrown around in that conversation, and it's one of those. At first, I'm like, man, now you're punishing teams for what their fans did, but how else are you going to get the point across, to get that message across?
There has to be some form of punishment. There has to be a consequence to storming it. Just, a fine or something. There's so much money now in college sports.
These college
a fine
kids
is not going to
take away their damn diploma. Be like, you can't go to school here anymore. That would put the fear of God in them, especially if they had to tell their parents the reason why they got kicked out of school was because they stormed the court. I'm sure mommy and daddy would be real happy at some of them schools.
Maybe we can work in a way of take away their season tickets or something that.
Some of those, people are still going to do that. Hey, it's I'm leaving school here in a couple of months. What do I care now, or something like that? Yeah. Hey, let me just do this.
Well, that's.
I'm a foreign exchange student. I'm going back overseas.
Fortunately for me, I don't have to make that decision. But smarter people can make that decision. But I just believe that there has to be some form of consequence. If you charge out onto that floor, there's got to be some kind of restitution, some kind of problem that you're going to face. Otherwise, why not? And again, the more publicity that it gets, the more they want to do it.
That is a good point. You think we got time for one more, Caveman Rick?
Yeah, it's like we don't have
it's old
nobody
school.
coming, and we don't have nobody in the next segment, right?
Absolutely. All right, so one more old school here, and we'll get Caveman and your thoughts as well on this. Do you think that Caitlin Clark needs a championship to solidify her career at Iowa as being like the best college basketball player, or at least we'll say best female college basketball player? I still think that I don't want to say it's disrespectful to Pistol Pete, but, no three-pointer in only 3 years and the average that he had across his season, I don't think anyone really is in that same conversation as Pistol Pete.
No, I think that it would certainly be the icing on the cake for her. Unfortunately, she has brought that program to a level that it was never at before.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a college player, kind of like, for example, Elvin Hayes. When he first, you don't know who he is, but some of the old school guys might remember Elvin Hayes. He went to the University of Houston when they were nothing. And this was back when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was at UCLA, and they had a 72-game winning streak. And Elvin Hayes was at the University of Houston. He was a Cougar. And they played a game in the Astrodome because it was such a big game, and Houston won that game. But then when they went to the NCAAs, UCLA won again. But that moment where a person who came out of nowhere, the team that came out of nowhere, it put them on the map. And all of a sudden, Houston became a basketball school. They were always a football school before that. I lived down there, but they were not a basketball team. But then later on, came along with Phi Slamma Jamma and all of that, and Houston has been a basketball team ever since, or a basketball school. And I think it's kind of, for Caitlin Clark, it's the same thing. Elvin Hayes never got the publicity that Jabbar got, or back then he was Lou Alcindor was his name. But Elvin Hayes went on to play in the NBA, had a very successful career, but he never really got that championship. And we look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we look at Elvin Hayes. There's a difference. Unfortunately, for Caitlin Clark, it's going to be the same situation if she doesn't win it. She has supplanted herself as the leader, and she has brought that program to a level where maybe it can continue on. But if she doesn't come out of there with a championship, she's always going to be a little bit lower than what she could have been.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think she's pretty remarkable. I don't think she needs to win any championships. She's one of those players that's, very good. She's going to have like the women's scoring record, and so what if she didn't win a championship? She's really changed the game and uplifted the game, and people look at the game differently because of her bringing eyes to the game. So because of that, she's kind of like a Steph Curry in that sense. And even though she isn't like a Breanna Stewart that won 4 championships and was MVP all 4 times, she's probably done more for the women's game than like a Breanna Stewart.
That's a big statement.
I'm right there with you, old school, on that. I just think that it's kind of one of those in-the-moment situations with Caitlin Clark. But I do think she's done great for the game. She's done great for the game, but I think that the game was on its way up, and Caitlin Clark has actually benefited from the eyes that have been on women's basketball. But fun fact here about Elvin Hayes, in his 16 seasons, he never missed more than 2 games in any of those seasons. So he was definitely an Iron Man, and he's also the all-time leading scorer for the Washington Bullets and Wizards. But old school, that's going to do it for our time this Wednesday, and I look forward to continuing this conversation with you each and every Wednesday.
Sounds good, Dave. Caveman Rick, good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Good talking to you too, buddy.
All right, that is old school, and we are going to take a quick time out. When we return, we're going to do a little trivia on this day, and we'll go over some more headlines. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for Mike Greenberg.
Doc made a fascinating decision. Many people in his position would have done the same, but it did invite an enormous amount of scrutiny. Now he goes there, and they have immediately looked awful since he got there. Now, how much of that is his fault? I don't know. But at the end of the day, if this thing doesn't get much better, I don't think Giannis gets the blame. Maybe Dame gets some of the blame, but I think it's going to fall on Doc.
Greeny. Weekdays on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Wednesday afternoon. The rest of the day, mostly clouds and 72 with a gentle breeze out of the south-southwest at 9 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clouds and a low near 53. Tomorrow, a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour, mostly cloudy and a high around 66. For Friday, clouds in the early morning and then moderate rain and a high of 67. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hello, this is Rick Vossen with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer, located 2241 East Baldwin Road. Running now through March 5th, we've got a 10% discount on new units as well as order outs. And there's a couple aged units in there that will have an additional 5 or 10% discount to them. Come see me, Rick, at RV of Panama City, your Stormore portable building dealer, located 2241 East Baldwin Road.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
It's go time all the time. Sports talk around the clock.
Oh my gosh!
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Just had to take a swig of my Mountain Dew provided by Buffalo Rock, and we try to hook up, well, not try to. If you win a trivia package from us, we keep you guys loaded down with some Buffalo Rock products. And Buffalo Rock is now hiring. They've got they're looking for a Class A CDL delivery merchandiser. They've got a hiring incentive of $1,250, a Class A CDL incentive of $1,000, and you can come join their team. You just go to buffalorock.com/careers, and they'll answer why you should join the Buffalo Rock team, which you get paid weekly, a 401k retirement plan with match, awesome insurance benefits available, and 40 hours paid vacation after 180 days. So ESPN Northwest Florida might be hiring soon for a new board op and afternoon host and live sports programming director and all that kind of good stuff as well. That's, man, that seems like a pretty decent gig over there.
They'll keep you busy. I worked in grocery stores before.
Yeah.
And I seen what those guys do. And, like, it's no joke around here during spring break and summertime, you know. Those guys they're hustling.
Ain't no doubt about it. I actually did a very small stint doing overnights at Walmart. And my friends started talking about wanting to play softball, and I was like, well, I'll just make a team. And then the first game that I went to after doing the overnights, I was like, that's it. I'm done with overnight stuff. It was hard for me to kind of get into that swing of things. So, and I've worked multiple other overnight jobs before, but like when we had the oil spill, I got into a warehouse and I was making boom, and that wasn't so bad because you were kind of constantly busy and you had different type of things, but stocking shelves is just not something I wanted to be doing.
I did that overnight, man, for a while, and dude, let me tell you, it's some work too. But after a while, I got to work on days, and things got a little bit better. But it's something that pays well too.
Hey, no doubt, man. Got to change that coffee routine up if you're going to be working overnights. You got to add a little bit more to it as well. Our trivia question for Traffic Jam and Trivia today. Yesterday, Drew Burris of the Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck, he's an outfielder over there. He went yard 4 times, but that's not the most in a single college baseball game. So who has the most home runs in a single college baseball game, and how many did he hit? Now, Caveman, I know that I've got the answer here, but do you know how many home runs it was that he hit?
No, I don't. I'd have to take a guess.
All right. Well, take a guess.
I want to say probably, since it's the most ever, 5.
Okay. All right. So 850-215-6290. We've got your chance to win $25 to not the, but that boot store in a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. We're looking for the answer to who has the most home runs in a single college baseball game, and how many did he hit? Interesting to note on Drew Burris, though, hitting those 4 home runs, 4 of 4, but he's got 9 on the season. And if I'm not mistaken, Georgia Tech has only played 8 or 9 games. I want to say 9 games to this point in the season. So he's essentially hit a home run in every game, or he's got a home run per game at this point in time. So Drew Burris having a heck of a season, as we're going to travel over to Neil, who is in the doghouse now with the Afternoon Underdogs. Neil, who has the most home runs in a single college baseball game, and how many home runs did he hit?
And I want to say Marshall McDougal with 7.
Oh, you got the name. You got the name right, but you didn't get the amount right. Oh, so close too. And the thing is he was 7 of 7 in that game.
7 for 7. Go Noles. He was a Nole. I know that much.
Hey, go Noles. Neil, you have a mighty fine rest of your afternoon. All right, my friend?
Thanks for the chance, man. Go Noles. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. You have a great day as well, and thank you so much for listening. So, hey, Neil's got you guys on point. All right, the man went 7 of 7. Marshall McDougal did this, and that is the name. So now we're just looking for the number. All right, and it's in between the number that Caveman Rick gave you guys and the number that Neil just gave us. But he did this on May 9th back in 1999, Florida State versus Maryland. So pretty impressive stuff for your opportunity to win $25 to not the, but that boot store in a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. And you can call us now to win that at 850-215-6290. On this day in 1903, Caveman Rick, I didn't know if maybe your Dogecoin hit today, because I've been seeing a lot about on Twitter. I need to go check my accounts and see if I still have any Dogecoin. I know that I still got a little bit of Bitcoin, and that thing keeps on teetering back and forth, but it ain't enough to make no dent in anything for me. So
I want something tangible I can put my hands on.
I put a little bit back into it during those COVID days, because a lot of my buddies were getting into it. So I was like, why not? You guys aren't going to shut up until I do, so might as well. And then kind of noticed I really wasn't doing anything, so I just stopped looking at it. And then the last time I looked at my little portfolio type deal or whatever, it was I was like, okay, it went from like being up to around like it had grown from the amount that I initially invested to about $400, $500 or whatever, and then it started slowing back down. I was like, man, I can't look at this stuff, or else I'm gonna end up paying these people to invest in their stuff. But on this day in 1903, Barney Dreyfuss and James Potter buy the Philadelphia Phillies for $170,000.
That'd be nice. I could do that today, but hey. Whew.
The ROI on that thing must have been decent. In
real quick, buy the coin. I'd rather have real coin, as in like gold coin.
Yeah.
Coin, Dogecoin, all that other jazz.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, but to each their own, though. If it's something that
FTX, way to go, Tom Brady.
Oh, Tom Brady. 1940, we'll go to the first televised basketball game, and that was the University of Pittsburgh beating Fordham University. The score there was 50-37. You got 1960 and 60.
Yeah, but you know where that basketball game was at?
I'm gonna guess Citizens Bank Park. No, there's no way that was happening in 1940. Where was it?
MSG, Madison Square Garden. I learned that today because on this day was on one of the shows earlier today on ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Nice. Awesome. Good stuff. Take 1960.
Yeah, 1960, home team United States wins its first Olympic ice hockey gold medal at Squaw Valley with a 9-4 win over Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, there you go. And then what did it take 66 as well?
All right, 66, Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale began a joint holdout against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
So I did a little bit of reading into that, and fans weren't very happy that they were doing this, and basically if both of them weren't signed, weren't going to be, if one of them didn't sign, the other wasn't going to sign, and so they kind of, pushed the envelope a little bit, which, hey, a lot of the times when we see players holding out these days, we're like, oh, how how selfish or whatever, but these are things that have to happen sometimes, regardless of how we as fans feel about them, for the future of the future of athletes beyond them. So it was interesting to read, and I think Sandy Koufax got like 107. They wanted a combined $1 million, wow. And Sandy Koufax ended up getting like 170,000. Don Drysdale got like 105,000, and they both had pretty successful seasons. Sandy Koufax was the Cy Young winner after this, and obviously we know about Sandy Koufax, and Don Drysdale had about 4 more years in him after that.
Well, what's kind of crazy though, Sandy Koufax had a really short career though. Yeah. In comparison to a lot of other people. So, like, if he would have done this too, his career would have been even shorter.
Yeah, that's a good
His numbers
point.
might have been a little lower. I mean, he still got pretty good numbers, but yeah, that's just something to think about.
Yes, it is. 1971 on this day, the PGA Championship in men's golf, the PGA at PGA National East. Jack Nicklaus leads wire to wire for his second career Grand Slam. He wins by 2 over Billy Casper. And in 2021, we were talking about her a little bit earlier. Caitlin Clark scores 18 points and has a season-high 14 assists in a game for Iowa against Wisconsin. Iowa is going to be wrapping up their season, I believe, this Saturday or Sunday, and they're going to be taking on Ohio State. Iowa's coming in at number 5, Ohio State number 2, and I believe Caitlin Clark, they might have 2 more games, but she's 60 points away from tying Pistol Pete at that point in time. So
she'll probably get there.
I mean, if she only has 1 game, and that 1 game is against Ohio State, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting.
Only got 1 game left. I thought maybe she had 2, but okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if
they'll feed her.
And not only that, then she's going to get in the tournament. I would love to see Iowa get it done. I mean, I think Iowa, I don't know the type of season that LSU is having this year, but, Iowa, LSU would be a lot of fun. UConn's
South Carolina's really good, too.
South Carolina's there every year. So I'm really excited. We're going to run ourselves a women's bracket challenge as well this year. Maybe I don't know if it's going to be for the prizes as the men's bracket challenge will be, but if you're a business and you'd like to sponsor our Bracket Buster challenge, get in contact with me, 850-215-6290. I would love to make that happen for you guys, and we've got a few more spots for our Braves packages as well. So just text 850-215 6290 and tell them that you're looking for David, and I will get a hold of you, and we will make something great happen. And we're going to talk a little college baseball when we return. Chandler Permenter is going to be on the line with us. He is with College Baseball Central. If you like to keep up with college baseball, go over there to Twitter and type in College Baseball Central. Chandler will be on the line with us when we return. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
She's a great player, and I wonder, Caitlin Clark is 22. So 8-9 years ago, she's 13 years of age. She's already said that, Steph Curry had a huge influence on her. Because we think they're bad shots, but they're not bad shots for her.
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, mostly cloudy and a low of 52 with wind 15 to 20 miles per hour out of the north-northeast. Some clouds tomorrow morning, a moderate breeze and quite warm near 63. Overcast and 66 in the afternoon and evening. 69 in clouds in the early morning, followed by a likelihood of thunderstorms with a gentle breeze Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The DCB Hobby
Beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Often imitated, never duplicated. The official sports station of the Panhandle. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Oh, yeah, baby. We are back in the doghouse. You guys are riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs. It's going to be a short hour here, just 2 segments, and we're going to kick it off with Lynn Haven Rob playing a little trivia with us. What's going on, Rob?
Hey, buddy. How y'all this afternoon?
Oh, man, we are phenomenal. Getting ready for the Auburn Tigers taking on Tennessee this evening. Coverage starting at 5:30. But the trivia question, we do have a guest on the line to talk a little college baseball. So tell me, Lynn Haven Rob, I know you know the answer. Who has the most home? Go ahead.
It was a Seminole. I know that. I think his name was Marshall Douglas. I don't remember when it was, but because I don't Google and look stuff up, but he hit 6 home runs.
He did
in that game.
Now I feel like I need to give Neil partial credit and you partial credit here, and split of that boot store gift certificate in half and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock in half, because it was, and you're so close. It's Marshall McDougal, and he did hit 6 home runs though. So I'm gonna reach out to Neil. Neil, if you'll do me a favor, and if you're still listening, text the station number, and I'll work something out with you. And the Lynn Haven Rob, you know exactly where it is to come, and we'll hook you guys up.
That's cool, man. Just let him go ahead and have it.
How about we
certificate.
No, sir. How about we just take care of both of y'all?
That's fine.
That's what's going to happen. Lynn Haven Rob, thank you so much for calling along. We're going to get off the line real quick here so that we can get on the line with Chandler. But thank you so much for the call.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. That was Lynn Haven Rob. He's the big winner. And Neil, we're going to hook you up as well. So if you're listening, do me a favor, text your name over to 850-215-6290. Now we're going to hop on the line with Chandler Permenter. He is with College Baseball Central. A great follow over there on Twitter if you want to keep up with college baseball, because there's a lot going on. Chandler, what is going on, my friend?
What's going on, David? Hey, man, I can barely hear you. Am I still...
I can hear you pretty good. I'm going to have Caveman Rick is going to work on that and get it to where you can hear me a little bit better. And if not, then I guess it'll just be you talking for a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. But if you can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yeah, I got you a little bit better. What's going on, man?
All right, what's going on? Give me 2 or 3 pitchers to keep an eye on this year.
Well, a guy that's kind of new to me, but is going to be well known for long, Nate Snead out of Wichita State. The kid throws 101 miles an hour, which you don't see those triple digits a whole lot, especially in college. The kid's throwing absolute gas. I don't know if he'll be the best pitcher we see all year, but it'll be fun to watch. You gotta throw that hard. It's hard to look away from him. And then kind of the talk of the town this year, as far as on the mound, has been Hagen Smith in Arkansas. The guy's just good. They've played some really good competition all year so far, so his numbers are a little bit inflated, but man's going to be really, really good on the mound.
And then what about some offensive guys? I mean, we've got one already over there in Georgia Tech that's been taking the world by storm and continued that along yesterday. But give me 2 or 3 guys to keep our eyes on from the batter's box perspective.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually it's hard not to talk about Drew Burress. I mean, the guy, I think he's at 9 home runs now in 8 games.
Yes,
so,
sir.
I mean, he keeps that pace up, he's going to break some records, no doubt. He may not ever hit 6 in a game, but he's definitely gonna keep lighting it up. 4 in a game is already nuts. 9 on the year is insane to be this early in. And then I'm gonna get a little bit of a homer pick on my second guy, a fella named Jackson Ross at Ole Miss. He's a new name to me. He's a transfer in this year, senior at Ole Miss, 6'2", 200 pounds. Dude's hit 5 home runs in his last 4 games, and he had none going into that one. So, I mean, when you look at what he's doing already as a newcomer to Ole Miss, and we needed it, man. Ole Miss was struggling early on, and he's kind of been that spark plug. So that's two guys that it's going to be really fun to watch this year.
And we're just, just kind of getting underway here in college baseball. What teams have stood out to you this year?
Well, there's a bunch already. Oregon State out on the West Coast, I don't give them really enough credit, but they have been really, really good this year. And I honestly think they're going to be hard to keep out of the conversation for the Omaha 8. TCU's been a lot of fun. I've been kind of keeping a close eye on them because of Peyton Chaudier. He transferred over there from Ole Miss this year, and dude's just fun to watch. He really enjoys playing the sport, and he's always got a smile on his face. TCU's going to be really good as well. DBU sneaking up on a lot of people. We're going to learn a lot about them this weekend. They play Alabama and Indiana, and I think it's the Frisco Classic this weekend. But they're already 8-0, winning by a lot in their game. So kind of keep an eye on DBU. And then lastly, I've got Duke on here, man. CBC, College Baseball Central, we've been high on them. That a lot of people haven't been as high on Duke. But they're a sneaky 8-0 team that's looking like they may make a run at Omaha.
Yeah, and Dallas Baptist is a team that I think for about 3 years now. I don't know if it was having you guys on or if it was old school being from that area in Texas and said, hey, they're a pretty good baseball team. But I always, especially at the end of the year when we get into the regionals, it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and ride with Dallas Baptist as one of my underdogs there. But let's take a second here to predict the conference champs for you, and we'll just go over the main ones: the ACC, SEC, Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10 here. Final year for the Pac-12 as we know it. But who do you have pegged to win the ACC?
I think I caught most of that, kind of breaking up on me a little bit still. But as far as conference champions go, you can't overlook Wake Forest. They are pretty much without an argument the best team in the country right now. I've got them in the ACC. I don't see anybody challenging them. That certainly could change, but right now ACC is going to go to Wake. The SEC may be the most competitive. You've got 4 or 5 teams right there at the top that all have a really good chance to win it, but I'm leaning LSU, but don't sleep on Arkansas either. They definitely got, in my opinion, the best number 1 starter, but LSU may be a little bit deeper. The Pac, Oregon State, again, I don't know that anybody's going to beat them in the Pac this year. The Big 12, I've got TCU reaching back out to my Peyton Chaudier kind of homer pick. I still really like that guy. He was my very first interviews in college baseball. He's fun to watch, and that team's going to be really good. And then when it comes to the Big 10, man, I don't know what to think about the Big 10. We were really high on Iowa coming into this year, as a lot of people were. They were swept in pretty ugly fashion in I think it was a week 1 or week 2 tournament. Just didn't look very good. So maybe Indiana, maybe Iowa. The Big 10 is going to be kind of a toss-up as to whether or not they even make any teams in the tournament if Indiana or Iowa doesn't figure it out pretty quick.
What do you think the chances are, Chandler, of Wake Forest going wire to wire this year?
It's so tough in baseball, man. I mean, baseball's a tough sport that it's very competitive, especially now with the transfer portal. I feel like you have a lot more depth. Your low D1, high D2 schools are much more competitive than you see in football or maybe even basketball. Wake's going to slip up and lose a few games. You're just going to. And if you have a bad week, the same week that Arkansas or Oregon State is a really, really good week, you're going to fall in the polls some. And so staying number 1 all year is almost impossible. I don't think that there's any way they won't be in the Omaha conversation, though, come June. So I definitely think that they'll, they obviously start at number 1. I think they'll finish right up there towards the top, but going the distance is going to be tough.
Are you surprised at all at Alabama starting the season undefeated? Had a close one with UAB yesterday, pulled it out in extra innings. But are you surprised at all after some of the situations or the situation that they had to deal with last year, losing their head coach with the gambling deal? Are you surprised at all that Bama starting out the year undefeated?
I'm more shocked that everybody's so high on Alabama this year. Between losing Bohannon and when he left, a lot of their best players left right behind him. So no, I'm not shocked at all. I'm actually more surprised that the media, including College Baseball Central, some of my colleagues have them as high as they do. I watched that UAB game last night, and honestly, it felt like UAB lost that game more than it did Bama won it. So, no, I'm not shocked. I'll be shocked if they turn it around, honestly.
Yeah, there you go. Who are your top 5 teams of this season right now? If you were to put out the top 5, not worried about what anyone else thinks, but your top 5 teams, who would they be, Chandler?
Well, I honestly think that the top probably 6 or 7 are pretty much undisputed. I mean, I don't really think you can argue that Wake Forest, TCU, Oregon State, Arkansas, and then one of about 4 SEC teams are the top 5. Now, College Baseball Central, we've got in this order Wake Forest, TCU, Oregon State, Arkansas, Florida. That's what our poll says. I think the top 4 pretty much not disputable. I think Arkansas is that cutoff. And then when you look at A&M, LSU, Florida, Tennessee, those are all kind of 5A through D. I mean, it's hard to say any one of those teams is really better than another until you watch them play a 3-game series. Honestly, just eye test, for me, it's probably LSU. Florida probably is that second team right there on those same lines, but it's hard to pick just 5 right there in that top 7, 8, 9 kind of deal. Duke's still kind of looking in, but those top 4, Wake Forest or Arkansas, those teams to me are locked in top 5.
Yeah, and I've seen quite a few arguments on the 2 and 3 debate there, TCU and Oregon State. Why do you think there's such pushback between teams 2 and 3?
Well, the biggest problem we had this week is we had a lot of pushback on 3-4, Arkansas, Oregon State, because Arkansas beat Oregon State heads up this weekend. And I personally had Arkansas over Oregon State, but the biggest thing is, like I said, is baseball. One game is really hard to tell. If you played a 3-game series and you got swept, that's different. But, best on best, and then you got to look at who threw their best relievers versus who's saving their best relievers for the next game. One game's hard to tell, and that's why the World Series isn't won in one game. You got to do it 4 times, and baseball is just a tough sport, man. And everybody's going to have their opinions, and man, it's so early. You play a lot of baseball games in a season, so for anybody to get too worked up over a ranking is kind of silly anyway. But we put it out there for the fans. We think it's fun. They think it's fun, and that's what it's for us to debate. But yeah, that's why everybody has their own opinion, and somebody's going to be right at the end of the day.
Yeah, you are right, but what's the difference really in 2, 3, and 4? It is funny to see everyone getting all worked up. And there's baseball is a lot different than basketball and football when it comes to the polls, because there's not really one out there that is the go-to. There's a whole bunch of different ones. Do they even use a particular one when it comes to the NCAA?
I think I got your question there. Sorry, we're still kind of cutting out. But ESPN on their graphics uses D1's poll. D1 has the most traction on that. And, I have my opinions on there's 2 or 3 that are very credible. They did their research. They've got guys who really pay attention. And there's a lot more that don't. And, I would advise anybody who is serious about college baseball and wants to be in the know, do your research on who you're looking at as far as the media goes, because there are guys not just at College Baseball Central but at D1 and a couple other of these bigger programs that are very, very knowledgeable. They watch a lot of baseball, they care about baseball, and they do their homework and they put out a good product. And there's also a lot of companies who go out there and they put out product that is frankly meant to stir you up and figure out who you're looking at before you take things too seriously.
Yeah, good stuff. Chandler, give me your final 2 teams. Who's going to be playing in the World Series, and we'll kind of keep track of that as we go throughout the season.
The last 2 teams, man, that's tough. I'm going to kind of think outside the box here. I think South Carolina is going to make a deep run this year. I know we haven't talked about them on the show today, but South Carolina is just that quiet, kind of gritty team that's not putting it all together right now. But you watch them towards May, end of May, beginning of June, they could get really hot at the right time. And if they do, we've seen it before. 2022, for example, you get hot at the right time, and you could really spur yourself into the conversation. And then I don't think I'm going to not say Wake Forest at any point this year. I feel like if you're not looking at Wake Forest to be in the championship conversation, you're not looking at anything correctly, because those guys are good, man. They're really, really good.
South Carolina, Wake Forest, duly noted, man. Can't wait for it. All right, before we get out of here, what are some games that you're going to be watching this weekend? What should we be looking for this weekend in college baseball, Chandler?
Look, if you are even remotely into baseball, it's a great weekend to watch college baseball. There's a lot going on. It's a fantastic rivalry weekend. You got Clemson, South Carolina, a big out-of-conference rival. Georgia Tech, same thing. Florida's going to Miami. So there's a lot of non-conference rivalry games going on. You've got the Frisco Challenge, I mentioned earlier, that's got Indiana, Alabama, DBU, and Arizona. You're going to learn a lot from that tournament. The team that comes out, if one team comes out and sweeps all their games, that team's going to be good. You know, again, it's still early, but that's going to be a lot of fun watching that tournament. And then LSU Texas plays on Friday night, and while Texas isn't the perennial powerhouse that they have been, we've got them at 13th, so they're still really, really good. That's a top-tier matchup. 2 Friday night guys going at it. Look out for that game.
I love it. Chandler, thanks so much for giving us some of your time, and we look forward to chatting with you next Wednesday as we keep the season locked in here with College Baseball Central.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it, man.
All right, that's Chandler Permenter, y'all, and he is with College Baseball Central. You can head on over to Twitter right now and type in College Baseball Central. Give them a follow and add them to your college baseball repertoire. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll be right back for our final segment of the afternoon.
Your home for college basketball. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tonight, your Auburn Tigers are at the Tennessee Volunteers as 2 SEC powerhouses collide. It's the number 11 Tigers versus the number 4 Volunteers inside the Thompson Bowling Arena. Listen live from Rocky Top. Tip off at 6 tonight on your home for college basketball and the Auburn Tigers. War Eagle.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, mostly cloudy and a low of 52 with wind 15 to 20 miles per hour out of the north-northeast. Some clouds tomorrow morning, a moderate breeze and quite warm near 63. Overcast and 66 in the afternoon and evening. 69 in clouds in the early morning, followed by a likelihood of thunderstorms with a gentle breeze Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy from Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Me and my I Do crew have 50 years experience, and we have more certified diamonds in stock at the best prices in town. So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, come see me, your diamond girl, and my I Do crew at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, because we don't work on commissions. We work for smiles and I Do's.
He stuck his head in the microwave and chanted Hot Pockets. Hot Pockets! Caveman Rick is part of the Afternoon Underdogs.
Hope you're drunk or heading home to a trailer.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. This is our final segment of the afternoon. Got a little less than 8 minutes left to go. Then we're going to take you over there to the coverage of the Auburn Tigers. They've got a big road game tonight taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. That game starts at the game tips at 6 p.m. Coverage starting at 5:30. Then Auburn's got Mississippi State this weekend. Mississippi State, oh, so close to knocking down Kentucky last night, but Kentucky getting the buzzer beater. Alabama has Ole Miss tonight. night. We're not going to be airing that game, but we will have the Alabama-Tennessee game, which will follow the Mississippi State-Auburn game this coming Saturday. And we're going to kick it off with Illinois-Wisconsin. So a triple header of college basketball. And then Sunday night, we're going to have the Detroit Pistons at the Orlando Magic. Don't forget this coming Monday, March 4th from 5:30 to 9 p.m., the Bay High Sailing Team is going to have a throwback to Los Angejitos at Ferrucci Ristorante. So the owners of Ferrucci's used to be the owners of Los Angejitos before, the good old days. They're going to have some of their favorite menu items to include queso, ceviche, shrimp tacos, carne asada tacos, and their famous margaritas. There's also going to be live entertainment and a raffle. This all benefits the Bay High Sailing Team. To purchase sponsorships, you can contact their email at bayhighsailing@gmail.com. That was really cool stuff, and they're doing a really cool thing, so help them out in their ventures. Real quick, we'll recap some of the local stuff. Top-ranked Arnold soccer team, the boys soccer team, advancing to the Class 5A state championship. They beat Pembroke Pines in a thrilling overtime game last night. Ended up being 4-2 and penalty kicks in the shootout there. They went 80 minutes of regulation, 2 overtimes, which are 10 minutes, but all of that scoreless thanks to Josh Chandler, the senior goalie. He played hero for the Marlins last night, stopping 2 of those penalty kicks in the final shootout. Cricket. Lebdowie. I still want to say Lebdowie for something. Lebdowie, and that makes so much sense too when I'm sitting here reading it. Like, yeah, that's Lebdowie. Stone Hatton and Sander Richard all made their penalty kicks, and then senior Felix Reimer made the 4th penalty kick, and then Josh Chandler made that game-winning stop. Arnold now 21-1 on the season, advancing to their 3rd state championship game in 4 years. The Marlins are going to be taking on the number 2 seed Jesuit from Tampa. In the Class 5A state final. That'll be this Friday, March 1st, and there is going to be a watch party over there at Dave & Buster's, so you want to be sure to check that out. Gulf Coast, they're on their way. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought about something real quick. Finish your scores, and then I'll mention.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, it had something to do about Lebdowie. Okay, so
yeah.
I don't know if you remember this a couple of years ago, maybe, it might have been 3.5 years ago or something, at the old station. Got into talking about something, and I mentioned about goats being in trees. Do you remember anything about goats and trees?
Goats and pools, I remember.
Yeah, that was recently. Yeah, goats and pools. But anyways, in Morocco, where Hamid, Cricket's dad's from,
okay,
they have goats that get into trees. And literally, I've seen pictures, and there's goats like on branches in trees.
Yeah.
I mean, goats, they can like climb like on rocks on mountains and stuff. So I guess they're real agile. But I never seen goat in a tree. I thought it was like photoshopped.
Yeah.
And then he kept telling me, no, that's for real. I've seen them, and I'm like, holy cow.
It makes sense too. I mean, a tree is a little bit more steep than a mountain, but dude, like you'll be what was that? It was maybe Monarch. I believe was the last mountain that we went, or one of the mountains that we went to. That wasn't a mountain. That was a ski place, a ski resort up there in Colorado. And like the higher you get up the mountain, you'll see those goats, and they're just like standing like that,
like big horned sheep and stuff like up there. Places like that's crazy, man.
It is. It absolutely is, man. Like they got some. They need to invent those cleats for some of the athletes, especially for some of the turf that the NFL players are on.
Yeah, you ain't lying,
man. I forget who it was that I was listening to, and maybe he was being facetious. Maybe it was Aiden Hutchinson. I think it was a Barstool interview with an athlete, and they were telling, you know who it might have been, Christian McCaffrey? Yeah, maybe. I can't remember who the athlete was, but they were telling him about how the World Cup, I think it was Kittle. I think it was George Kittle. I've just given you 3 different athletes, but I do believe it was George Kittle. And they were talking to him about how the World Cup is going to be installing real grass.
Yeah.
For, and we had already talked about this on the show, what the NFL was going to be doing or what the World Cup is going to be doing with these stadiums. But the one thing I didn't know hearing that interview is that they're not going to be calling them by the same names of the stadium. So like if it was AT&T Stadium, it wouldn't be called AT&T Stadium. It would be called like Dallas Stadium or something.
Okay. I thought maybe they were going to give the naming rights to somebody else just for the World Cup.
But FedEx is out with the Washington Commanders.
Really? That's cool.
So it won't be FedEx Field. I don't know what direction they're going to be going, how much longer they're going to be the Commanders,
New
and all of that
ownership,
good
I
stuff.
don't know where they made their money, but I mean, probably maybe something to do with the new ownership, something that's on par with them.
I wish that advertisers, like, all right, so this is kind of where it starts with me. Golf, right? They've had the Honda Classic, and now it's going to be called the Cognizant Classic. I wish that the sports would have advertisers that the people who were watching like knew about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I don't care. I don't even know what Cognizant is. I think it has something to do with some internet type thing, some tech type company. But I wish that like for college football, let me get for SEC games, I want to see like Southern region based,
like Chick-fil-A, kind of thing.
Yeah, you know
like
what,
that.
and yeah, just all kind of like companies I know about.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. Like, I don't like how they're doing the NHL, putting the advertisements on jerseys.
Yeah.
You know, I hate that. But if you're going to do it, do something local. Like Wawa's a big thing in Philly, right?
Right.
So I got no problem wearing a Flyers jersey with a Wawa logo. I like Wawa, you know, but I don't want it saying some like, FTX, like that doesn't exist anymore, or something junk like that on there. I just want it to be something relevant to the sport or the team that is wearing it.
That's a great point, and I am right there with you. Max Strus last night had a beyond half-court buzzer beater to put the Cavaliers over the Mavericks 121-119. That was an incredible shot last night, and one of the best, I think one of the furthest game-winning buzzer beaters maybe in a long time. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think there was only like one or two that were greater than that one that I saw this morning on SportsCenter.
Yeah, he did it was awesome watching that going in. The Cavaliers hold on to their second place spot in the East. What you got?
Oh, just 1 minute.
Oh,
and speaking of that game too, big up to our boy Z, man. I've been seeing him do SportsCenter at night, man. Zuma Mahente's been doing it a bunch.
He's been doing that for doing the night portion ever since he came back to ESPN after dealing with whatever it was that he was dealing with health wise, and he was no longer with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. And Max Kellerman, I believe, took over.
Yeah, I believe so. And then of course they're not there now. It's unsportsmanlike. You got Evan Canty and Michelle now in the morning.
Yeah, we got 30 seconds?
Yeah.
All right, hey, guys, y'all have a great afternoon. Auburn basketball is coming up next. Coach James Hale Show is going to be live at 7 in the morning, and you will have the Inside Drive from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., then the Afternoon Underdogs back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I. Y'all have a great rest of your evening.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
I'm starting a workout challenge, 75 hard for those who know it.
Well, good for you if you can do this.